Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So coming back again with the Christmas blockbuster. We're still just right in the middle of the Let It Snow luxury topper collection, and this is called a Jolly Snowman. So we have two one really large, I think this is nearly about 6 inches square, that outside topper frame. Yeah, so 5.5, difficult to tell with the silver foiling, 5.5 plus 1/16 square, so really large topper there. And then we've got this medium-sized topper here. We've got a smaller sort of topper there. It's the most magical time of the year. There's nobody like you. Merry Christmas, sending frosty kisses. We've got two beautiful borders, one with the gifts or the presents, one with the snowflakes. And then the foiled cardstock, you've got this beautiful snowflake design over that beautiful snowman with the scene. Again, if you've got, I know Hunkydory did the snowman sort of dies recently with the snowman head and such. That would look lovely on there if you didn't have a topper or the little book to add into. And then we've got the printed cardstock there. So today I'm going to go for the first card. I'm going to go with a really simple, my little simple pop-up. So if I grab a piece of 12 by 6 300 GSM white cardstock, and I'm going to pop this in up to the 2-inch mark, and I'm going to cut from 1 to 6.5, and then I'm just going to rotate that round and do the same. Again, it's just easier for me to line it up with that 2-inch mark, and then go all the way back down to that 1. And then just to get these scores in the middle, I'm going to pop that up to the 1-inch mark, and then across the middle there, I'm going to put that score line in, and then at 1.5, same thing across the middle. Then 6 will do normally. And if I pop this little arm out at 6.5 across the middle. And this doesn't, I'll be honest, it doesn't give it, I mean it would fold on those, but it doesn't give me as good a score as doing it on the scoreboard. But what it does is it just helps me find the groove on the board, so I can just go along where that is, and then that'll put a nice deep score in for me. And then the 6, we're going all the way along, and then that's 6.5 again. Okay, you're going to have something with a tab that looks like so. So just again for the measurements, so it's 1 inch, 1.5, 6, you're going to go all the way along because that's your halfway point of your card, and then 6.5. And then what happens is when you start to fold these in, I always say it kind of looks a bit like a nose on a face. So let's just go along, give these a really nice little burnish down. And this is a really simple way to add a bit of dimension into your card. There we go. And it stands nice and proud like so. So let's start doing some layers. And I'm going to want some silver mirror, which I popped over there, and I'm having to use the A4 sheet. So what I'm going to do first of all is cut this to 2 notches under the 6. So I've got a nice long piece there to go into my bit box. And then I want a piece that's going to be 2 notches or 1/8 under the 6, under the 2, sorry. And then the same again for the other side, so 2 notches under the 2 by 2 notches under the 6. And then I'm going to do this piece for here, so I'm going to cut this 2 notches under the 2, and I believe it's 4.5, so I'm going to cut 2 notches under 4.5. That's going to be perfect there. That can go into my little bin there. And then for this piece here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a piece that goes all the way along this time. So I'm going to do 2 notches under the 1, and that should be 2 notches under the 6, and then that will be layered up on top of there. And then let's bring in the printed cardstock. So I'm going to cut this to 5 3/4, and then I'm going to take that to 5 3/4 that way, just so I get the bigger pieces coming off. And then I think we will just start by going at 1 3/4, which is going to go along there. 1 3/4, which will be this middle piece, but I might chop some of that corner away, and then 1 3/4, and that's going to be that piece there. Now this piece here, I think what I'm going to do is cut that so it should be 4 1/4. So just see if I'm cutting that at 4 1/4. I'm just trying to make it sort of eke out so that it kind of lines up right when it's open. So I think what I'm going to have to do, let's take half an inch off top and bottom. So this is going to be a sort of, I mean, it may not work out exactly right, but I just want it somewhere in the ballpark. So again, I'll take another half an inch. And that will be just about there, I think. That's on the money for that one. And that's about as good as it's going to be on there. What I might do is, rather than have that weird bit at the top, I'm going to put that at the bottom. It's going to be covered by the border anyway, but it just stops that piece going at the top. Now for my border, what I was thinking was, if I take this second piece, this foiled piece, to 5 3/4, because the likelihood is that I'm going to do either a 6 by 6 or a 5 by 7, so I know I'm going to have plenty there. And then what I'm going to do is just take 3/4 of an inch off that top, and then I'm going to get that little foiled snowflake border to go along the bottom. Could have used this, you know, it's all the same tones, but I just thought it'd be nice to have something just a little bit different in there. So let's come along and, oops, throw them around a little bit, and then we can pop them on. Okay, so the glues I'm going to be using, so I've got my Cloud tacky glue, got my Cloud all-purpose glue, probably going to bring in the Dotty tape pen, definitely going to be using a purple glue stick, and I think that's going to be around about it. So let's start with these pieces. So I'm going to pop these on. Now while I'm just gluing these on, so I'm just going around a little bit of glue. I tend to use 2 glues just for the sake of the video. I do use 2 glues when I'm not making videos now, just because I've got into the habit of doing it. But it all started because I love the all-purpose glue, but I didn't want the pieces to move when I make videos. So the tacky glue not only keeps it in place, but it just means I don't have to go right to the edge with my all-purpose glue and risk that splurging out and ruining my Miri card, because it can take the finish off some processed card. Okay, so that's just the glue bits sort of told you about. So yesterday I noticed that my subscribers have just tipped over 1,500. So thank you. I cannot say thank you enough to all the people who have taken the time to subscribe to my channel and are enjoying watching what I do. I mean, I am purely just playing with card stock here. It's really easy to make a card with Hunkydory products, and you know, to have a card that comes out that you're pretty proud of, and you know, people love to receive. So that's the sort of ethos behind this sort of channel. Just have a little play, see what comes out. 9 times out of 10 it's something nice, I would say, judging by the comments I get. But what I thought, just going back to those subscribers, just as a thank you, what I would do is do a little giveaway. Now, in the past, whenever I've done a giveaway, something really dramatic's happened in the family, which is yeah, it's just crazy. But we're just going to risk fate. I'm going to put up a separate post. I think I'm going to do it on YouTube because obviously that's where the majority of you guys watch me, although I have to start doing a few TikTok things, and that was part of my agreement with the Department of Work and Pensions. No, let's just take that glue off. Let's do the dotty tape pen. Yeah, they want me to try and promote my channel more, and they think that's the way to do it. So I am going to be putting a few little videos on TikTok shortly. Not like shortly as in a minute, but soon. So I'm going to do the giveaway on YouTube. I'll put a post up, and then it's going to be a case of if you can please, if you are interested in winning a £20 Hunkydory gift voucher. I think that's the fairest thing to do because you know, there's quite a few people now that watch from overseas, and I think even if you're not a, sorry, I've just noticed that's not quite as straight as I want it to be. Even if you're not a Hunkydory customer yet, because obviously the cost of purchasing from the UK, you got the delivery charges and such. I thought, well, if I do a £20 gift voucher, you guys can still use that, and actually that would probably pretty much cover your delivery cost and a little bit. So even if you were just to sign up and get the free gift, that would pay for the delivery, and you would have you know, a delivery from them. So that was my thinking anyway. So that will go up later today. It's probably going to be late here. It's probably going to be about 10 o'clock our time, somewhere around that. It will be before midnight, but sometime today. And then what I will do is I'll leave it up for a week, and then next Saturday, well, 6 days I'll leave it up, and then next Saturday I will put a post up again just announcing who's that winner. And then I would ask that winner to contact me on Facebook, just a message on Facebook, and then I can get some details and arrange for that voucher to be sent to you, whoever you are. So good luck if you choose to enter. I mean, it's £20. It's pretty much the price of a kit. I thought it was quite a nice amount. Okay, so let's get back to the video. So I'm just going to be deciding now. Originally I had thought I was going to use the bigger one, but I think I'm going to come in with this smaller one on here. Let's just double check. So I wasn't going to use the bigger frame. I'll find another use for that, maybe with the printed cardstock. Let's just see whether that one would look better. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. Original idea was the best. And then for the sentiment, we've got these narrow sentiment. This Merry Christmas, quite a lovely narrow one. So that is going to fit nicely along my little border, and then maybe a couple of gems just to finish. You could come in with one of these borders. You probably would get away with using that rather than one of those pieces if you didn't want to cut that off. But you've got those choices there. Okay, so let's just start to pop this together. So I am going to separate this frame out. And if you want to, what you can do is pop it on a little bit of cardstock to give it a bit of stability. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I think it's going to be fine. And I think what I'm going to do is just put some dotted tape pen, a little bit of tacky in the middle, just as an extra sort of security with that glue. I'm just going to hold that and make sure I've got that in about halfway. I think I have. Yeah, I think we're good. And we can just give that a nice press down. It's not hanging over, well, it's a little bit hanging over there, but it's pretty much edge to edge on there, so that will be fine. What I can do is take my glue eraser, which I've buried under my, just buried under some gems, and I can just rub those glue dots off. But that tacky glue will be holding that on there. And what I'll do is, once everything's settled down and dried, I'll just check that that is stable, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be enough on there just to hold that in place. So now we've got our little pop-up going. And then for this one, we're going to go with some 2mm on a nice amount. Now there's absolutely no point me trying to get it in the middle on that topper, so what I'm going to do is put a nice amount on here. And you could put anything, if you were, you know, like I said, you could put some cardstock on there. It's not really worth putting anything pretty there, just plain white, because it is going to be hidden by this topper. This topper comes over the whole of this piece, so if you are going to put something for stability, just use some cheap white card and that will be fine. And we'll pop some tacky glue on just to give us that bit of wiggle room time. And then we can just go in and pop that on, just make sure that's nice and straight. There we go. I'm just trying to wiggle about a bit, but it'll be fine. And then for this piece, I am going to have to chop these a little. And then we're going to pop some on here. Yeah, so good luck to everyone if you know, if you enter that, but I will get that up later today. Like I say, it's probably going to be this evening though. I might be lucky, might get it up earlier, but we shall see. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in some little silver gems, and I think what I'm going to do is go with maybe 1 and 2 on there, and then actually we'll come over here, so we've got a snowflake there. Oops, who's falling over? And then these little white, just on the white snowflakes, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4. we'll go with 5 there, just to finish that off. Okay, so let's glue these down. And glue there, so we've got those 2. And the good and the bad thing about using gems with no sticky back on, the good thing is you can pop them anywhere and decide where you want them to be. The bad thing is they can cause you to faff a little bit, because you're like, oh, is that quite the right place? Is that quite the right place? And then you onto there. Okay. It's just got a little messy there. But that is going to be our card number 1. And you can see, hopefully you can see just how that pops up at that slight angle. Just add in something a little different to a shelf or mantelpiece. And obviously it does fold down flat for posting, either that way or that way, depending on what sort of envelope you've got. And even if you're folding it down that way, I'm just being careful because of the gems, it's not got a real chunk to it, it's still quite thin. Okay, but that's card number 1, and I'm just going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, so for the second card I'm going to do a slightly different style of pop-up. So I'm going to need 2 of these pieces of 6x12 cardstock. I don't know what's going on with that, but we will hide that behind our layers. Or shall I use that? I'll use that as my other piece. So let's cut this to size. So the second piece, so the first piece is just going to be folded in half, which we will do in a second. And then the second, this other piece here, across the, so I've got it going long ways, the 12-inch cross, and I want to make a box piece for here, which is going to be it's going to be 3 inches. So I'm going to be scoring that at half, half, and then a 1.5 and a half. So that's going to be the spacing on there, but we'll do that in a second. And then this piece here, I want that to be, I'm going to go 2 inches. I'm going to go 2 inches on that piece, and then the other piece is probably going to go in the bin because it's not looking so clean. Now I might come back and cut a different piece for this if I don't like it, but we'll see how we go when we start putting it together. Usually I do it a little bit fatter than that, but I want to use up some of the cardstock on the foiled. Okay, so like I say, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. Then the next score is going to be 1 inch. Then we're going to go with 2 inch. Then we're going to go 1/2 inch. Okay, and then if I just show you, when we fold that round, it's going to have a 1 inch at the front, but it's going to be 1/2 inch deep. So when that goes together, we're going to have this tube like this. And then this piece here, I'm going to score at 1/2 and at 1. Okay, and then this will glue onto the top. I think that's going to be fine actually. So that is looking good. So those are the pieces. So I think what we can do first of all is attach, actually, let's score that in half. Let's just get that one gone. 6 inches straight down the middle. Okay, a bit flustery today, so I do apologise. Okay, so line that up and just give it a nice burnish down. And then I'm just going to burnish all of these scores on here, and what that does, it just means that the card will open nice and easily, and that pop-up will pop nicely for me. Same with these on there. Okay, So then what I need to do is get some red liner tape. This is going to be your best friend for this one, I think. I will use a little bit of tacky glue as well. Tacky glue is great for this as well. It's just, you need something really to hold it in position while it sort of tacks, because the tacky glue will take a little bit of time just to sort of catch, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to start just by taking that one off. And just a little tip, if you are having trouble with the backs of that leaving your hand, the red liner tape, if you have got a little glass there, it does cling to glass. So if you put the edge on a glass, that sort of backing, it will stay there. So, and then what I'm going to do, just do it the way I normally do it. So line it up, butt it up to the bottom of my card, and then just fold that over. And then this piece here again, we'll put that on. A little bit of tacky glue on these edges. And then if I fold that down, so we've got two pieces here, I can literally just put that up there. And then we've got that nice and square. And that's the best way I've ever found to get that so nice and square on your card. Okay, so let's start with some layers. So some silver mirror card. And we're going to start by cutting that to 2 notches under the 6. And then I'm going to take a piece that's 2 notches or 1/8 under the 1, which is going to be for here. And then this now is 5 by 6, so we'll take a piece that's 2 notches under the 5, and that will go onto there quite nicely. And then we want a piece for here which is 2 inches by, I think it's by 5. Yeah. So let's cut that to 2 notches under the 5. And you're not going to see a lot of this really, but it's just, I am going to be decorating it a little, so just because there will be bits at the top and the bottom. Now I don't bother decorating these bits here or underneath where it attaches. You can do if you want to, if it really bothers you, but I've always found it doesn't really catch on your eye, if you know what I mean. Okay, so we're going to take the foiled piece with the seam on. Remember we cut into this a little bit earlier, and I'm going to cut that down to size lengthwise. So that is going to be 5 3/4. And then I want to take 3/4 of an inch off the bottom, which is going to be my piece that goes along there. And then I'm going to take 4 3/4 that way, which is going to be my piece that goes along there. And then if I take 1 3/4 by 4 3/4, that's going to be my piece that goes along there. So that's how it's all going to be. Oops, that's coming together. We still have a piece here that we could use as a border, so I'm going to save that in case I need that on the extra cards that I will be making at some point with the leftover pieces. So let's do some assembling. So just going to pop all of the glues on and stick these together. I've got my inserts for these Christmas blockbuster coming on Monday, so I'm going to get these finished up. I'm probably going to pop them on eBay, maybe packs of 5, I think. I think you used to be able to, and I don't know if you still can on eBay, one of you guys might know, you used to be able to do it so that part of the sale goes to charity. And I wanted to see if perhaps, just lift that up a little bit. I wanted to see if perhaps I could get part, if they do sell that is, if I could get part of the sale going to, I think it's Andy's Man Club in Harrogate, which is where my nephew lived. Some of you who've been with me a while know that he sadly passed away. He took his own life, and that was, well, actually, scarily, it was nearly, well, it'd be 2 years in March. So you know, it's just crazy how quickly time goes. But his friends and we, or my sister actually, as part of the family, do tend to take part in whatever way we can with the fundraising up there, supporting young local men. They have quite high rates, I think, up there of people that take their own life. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to do, is to try and see whether I can donate part of the sale to Andy Man's Club Harrogate. I don't know if you can, it might just be that you can only do an Andy's Man's Club if it is possible to do a charity donation. But if possible, I would like it to go to where it supports his friends, because I know particularly one of his young friends, I say young, he's in his 30s. I remember being 30 and thinking that was as old as anything, but yeah, they support at least one or more of his friends up there because of, you know, what my nephew chose to do. That's what I'm going to say on that, really. Bless him. But yeah, so that's what the plan is for these cards, and actually most of my cards moving forward, because I used to have a lady from the Cats Protection League come, and she used to, you know, take them. So what I've done is just coming away from that a second, just pop some red liner tape on there. I'm going to pop a little bit of tacky glue. I've folded it down flat, so we've got that tab and the next tab up, and then if I fold that down flat and pop this, actually let's use my board to try and keep it in the middle. So I'm using my board here, this is the center, keep that down nice and flat. We're going to go there, and then what I can do while that is still flat, just take that little piece of red liner tape that I popped on the bottom there, nice and flat again. Oh no, pop that down, just get rid of that bit of glue, don't know why that slid. And then what we should find is we've got that perfect pop-up on there. So it just wasn't quite straight, so it just had time to sort that out. So that is how our card is looking. So again, we're going to come on with this one here. Might go over to the side of this one, and then we want some of these pieces from here. Obviously I could come in with a border along there. I'm not going to do that. I think I might go with the most magical time of the year. Maybe on here, we'll balance that, and then we've got two little snowmen here. Let's see how we want that to go. I mean, it could go in the middle, we could have something like this. And then maybe go in with this sentiment as well, or we could go with a big one, this Nobody Like You. No, let's go with the Send In Frosty Kisses, because that's Nobody Like You is going to be quite nice on that foiled piece. So that is how I'm going to go, I think. We'll bring that down just a little, maybe swap those around. writing if I do that. It's concerned that that one's not really coming through, so we could go what do we think about that? Yeah, I like that better. I like that better. Okay, so 2mm foam pads hiding here. Let's grab those. So I am quite lucky to have the choice of quite a nice envelope that's got quite a lot of give on it. I've also got here some of the Hunkydory card boxes. Now, if you haven't seen the Hunkydory card boxes, it's worth checking them out. This is a new purple glue stick because I've dropped the other one on the floor and I'm too lazy to get it. I'm not too lazy, it just hurts to bend. The card boxes from Hunkydory, I think you get quite a few in a pack. You've got choice of 2 depths. You've got like 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And honestly, they are perfect for I need to just give them a centre on there. They are perfect for cards that have got an extra bit of dimension on. What I will say is, obviously, if you're using them, you're probably going to end up paying, here in the UK, large letter postage. I expect it's going to be a similar sort of position for you guys overseas as well. I don't know how your postage system works. I know for you guys in the USA, you like to make these sort of A2 size cards because that is the cheapest thing to mail, I think. I'm sure I've heard that said. You know, obviously if it's flat. And I know you guys overseas, and I bet it's the same everywhere now, the post rates are rising all the time. And you know, it's not easy, is it? It's expensive to send these things, but it's worth doing for those special people, I think. But if you are hand delivering, or you know, sort of, you've got a way of getting it to them without having to use the post, and you want a card box, all I can say is the Hunkydory ones are brilliant. I always keep some in, and they're perfect for the decollage as well. You know, if you want to put those extra layers on, they're perfect for that as well. And I should probably say as well, I don't get paid by the company to say that. It's just true. I've just been a customer for the last 20 years. I am on the design team now, and this kit actually, the Blockbuster, was sent to me as part of the design team. But having said that, if you have watched my videos at all over the last 3 years, you will see I've bought it every year anyway, and I have done, oops, since they started doing one. So I am a die-hard Hunkydory customer. I can't see me not ever being one, because I just love, I love what they do, I love what they produce, and I love their attitude as well. You know, it's very crafter centered. I mean, like if you go on their lives and you suggest something, it gets passed on, you know, and a lot of the things that do come out are things that people have asked for. There we go, that's all we need on that one. Yeah, so I just love that attitude. It kind of makes me feel valued as a customer. Oops, splurgy glue. If you haven't got gems like this, if you've got any of the tonic drops, they would probably go on here quite nicely. You can see the glue has splurged a little bit, it dries clear. If there was, if they weren't quite so close together, I would go in with the teeny tiny daubers that I have. But they are quite close together, so I'm not going to. Okay, and the reason why I put them just on that one side, let me just bring that round, is because there's quite a lot of things over here. So by putting, I always try and make it like a little bit of a journey, whereas you know, sort of it brings your eye around the card and background. So we've got this sentiment here coming along to that sentiment, and then you've got the topper coming down to this little topper here, and then it just brings you back to those gems which are pointing you back up to the start of the card. Now what I am going to do is, just because that is flapping a little bit, just put a little bit of tacky behind there, and that will glue those two toppers together. Should have done that when I put it together. But that is our card number 2. You can see another type of pop-up with that add-on there. And like I say to you, you can't really see that bit behind. You'd have to be turning it to the side and really looking. When the card is up and everything, it's not noticeable. So, you know, don't beat yourself up trying to fill that in. It doesn't get noticed at all. But that is our card number 2. Let me bring back in our first little pop-up that we did. That was the cut into the card. So 2 different styles, but sort of similar sort of results. And we've still got quite a bit left on here. We've got that frame, which I haven't used. We've got the borders. I've got a sentiment. I have the printed cardstock, so I could use die cuts, or I could use my little book on there. And then we've got this piece here. I'm probably just going to cut that into a 6x6, pop that snowflake border along the bottom, and then the sentiment either on the border or somewhere up here. But that's going to be that card, nice and simply done on there. And then I'll find something to go on that other piece. So that was a Jolly Snowman. That's that set. I'm thinking, I'm torn, because for the next set, the last set of this play with the Let It Snow, just want to put that there because I will need that for the title and things. I'm torn between the horses, which are, you know, I love horses and they are gorgeous. On that Let It Snow kit, the foiling on it it's feature foiling, and it's just Hunkydory do that feature foiling the best of any company I've ever seen ever in my whole like experience of crafting. But there is also those swans, and the swans are really gorgeous too. So I am really torn between which one to do. So if you wanted to give me a little hint of what you would like to see, that would be cool. But at the moment I'm sort of, I don't know how I can't use those horses, because they are just, it's so beautiful. But that's for the last little play with Let It Snow. And then Monday I should be getting the festive golden oldies. So we will have a play with that kit next after this Let It Snow. So just keep an eye out for that post on the giveaway. Please do take part, because I really would like to give something back to you guys for the support and everything that you've given to me over the past. It's taken 3 years to get to this point where I am lucky enough that YouTube does pay a little bit towards my crafting, and pretty much my crafting is starting to be paid for. In that I don't have to buy the kits. I do have to buy the kits, but you know, YouTube is pretty much paying for them. So that is a really amazing point in my life to be in, and I am, you know, so thankful for it. I'm rambling, but I am really truly thankful. So you know, that's why I think you guys really do deserve this, for supporting me for all those times. But that's it for today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully you'll have a fantastic one and get some crafting done. And I will see you at the start of next week. But until then, happy crafting. Bye.